Hello students, today we'll study another chapter from your class 10 syllabus. The name of the chapter is The Making of a Scientist and it is from your book His First Flight. Now in this particular video, I'm going to tell you the detailed summary of this chapter and I'm going to tell you what are the qualities required to become a great scientist. How, is this a true story, how Richard E. Bright went on to become one of the biggest scientists in the world, how he became so famous. So, firstly, let me tell you a brief description about Richard H. Bright. The story is about Richard E. Bright, who grew up in the town of Reading in Pennsylvania in USA. Now, in USA, there is a state by the name of Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, there is a city by the name of Reading. So, he was born and brought up there. He was very fond of collecting things, and later on, he had an inclination to collect butterflies when he was a child in kindergarten. The story reveals how this curious and inquisitive child who used to just collect butterflies went on to become one of the greatest scientists in the world. So basically what he did was he converted his passion into his profession, and that's why he became so successful. So talking about his early childhood, Ebright was the only child of his parents. Being lonely, he could not play team games because he was the only child, like football or baseball, but he could collect things. Hence, he started collecting butterflies in kindergarten. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He also became a stargazer and an eager astronomer. His mother encouraged him. She took him on trips. She also brought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, and other equipment. So, what does this tell you? It tells you that how much role his mother played in making him a great scientist. Right from the beginning, she tapped his potential and used to encourage him in all such stuff. So one day, Ebrahim's mother gifted him a book named The Travels of Monarch X, which was written by Dr. Urquhart. The book was a turning point in his life as it opened the world of science to him. It explained how monarch butterflies, monarch is a type of a butterfly, would migrate to Central America and made him more eager to explore about the species. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research. It was written by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart from Toronto in the University of Canada. Ebright started tagging monarch butterflies. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. So what he used to do is, you can see this. So um, once they used to find the butterfly, they used to stick a sort of a stick pin, like a pin up sort of a thing, and they used to write their name as well as their phone number onto it. So anybody would find it, they could call them up, see, I found the butterfly, it reached this place. So it was a big finding in itself, something very nice as a child, something very unique. So the butterfly collecting season around Reading lasted just 6 weeks in late summer. Chasing them one by one won't enable anyone to catch many. So Ebright raised a flock of butterflies. He would catch a female monarch butterfly and take her eggs. He would raise them in his basement from egg to an adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wings and let them go. Soon Ebright began to lose interest in this activity as there was no feedback. Only 2 butterflies had been caught and they were not more than 75 miles from where he lived. So he became bored because there was no feedback, nobody used to catch those butterflies, maybe not many people was interested in catching them. So he was also interested in science. So in 7th grade, Ebright participated in a country science fair and he lost. He had made slides of frog tissues and he had showed them to people. Then he realized, why did he lose? He realized that the winners had tried to do real experiments and he needed to do something exceptional in order to win. With suggestions So he took suggestions from Dr. Urquhart and he suggested him for his 8th grade product. He tried to discover the disease caused by a virus that nearly killed most of the monarch caterpillars every year. Ebright assumed that the beetle may be the carrier of the disease, so he started breeding caterpillars along with the beetles. However, he didn't get any results from this experiment, but still he exhibited his experiment in the county science fair and stood third in the competition that particular year. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was that viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. So obviously birds used to eat the viceroys. Why? Obviously, so viceroys used to try to look like monarchs so that birds do not eat them. So viceroys taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's food. His project was to see if birds would eat monarchs or not. You can spot the differences. I've created this picture so that you can see the differences. They almost look alike except for their wings, which is a little difference. I'll show you. Again, he found that the starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it would get. The starling is a type of a bird. This project was placed first in the zoology field. It came third overall in the county science fair. Now this is the difference that I wanted to show you. See, if you see the viceroys, the straight line over here, the slanting line over there, and there is a difference in their wings. So that you can see the difference, spot the difference between viceroys and monarchs. Now, during the second year of high school, Ebright started his scientific research about the discovery of a mysterious insect hormone which led to his brand new theory of the life of cells. His experiment was to find the main purpose of the 12 tiny golden spots on a monarch pupa. This is the golden spots that you can see on the monarch pupa. The 12 golden spots. Everyone assumed that the spots were just ornamental, just for show off. But Dr. Urquhart did not believe it. Ebright showed that the spots were producing a hormone. It was necessary for the butterfly's full development. Unless and until this hormone was produced, there will not be a proper full-grown butterfly. This project won first prize in the county science fair and he got an opportunity to work at the entomology lab. What is an entomology? It's a study of insects lab in the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Now in college, he studied the photos of the chemical structure of a hormone in the X-ray. This photo solved his doubt on DNA. He determined that the DNA is a substance in the nucleus that controls heredity. Obviously, your DNA must be looking like your parents. So we inherit all our features because of this DNA. So DNA was established to be the blueprint of the entire life process. So Ebright and his college roommate James R. Wong drew pictures and constructed plastic models. They made them to show how it could happen. Together they later wrote the paper explaining the theory. Their article was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. Never ever had college students' article ever published in such a big magazine, from a famous magazine. So Richard Ebright finally graduated from Harvard with highest honors. He also became a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began experimenting to test his theory. This theory is a big step towards understanding life processes. It helps in preventing types of cancer and other diseases, etc. Now, coming to the qualities of a good scientist, Richard Ebright became a scientist because he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He was not just interested in science but took interest in other activities as well. He won the title of the Scout of the Year. He was a curious, dedicated and hardworking person. He was a good debater as well. Richard, so there's one line in there that he had an SST teacher by the name of Richard Weiner, who spoke highly of Ebright, and he praised his sincerity, as he said that if he comes to know there is a debate tomorrow, he will stay awake throughout the night to prepare for that debate. So this is what he says, that this is the sincerity that was there in this child. He was very competitive but wanted to be the best version of himself. He did not want to adopt any unfair means to win. He had a will to win. He was intelligent and worked for the right reasons. He didn't run after prizes. Possessing a first-rate mind, curiosity, and the will to win for the right reasons made him a scientist par excellence. So if you have a good mind, you have this tendency, I want to win, and you want to work for the humanity, obviously nothing can stop you from achieving great success. I hope you like this chapter. That's all from my side. Happy learning. If you like this video, do like, share or subscribe or comment. Thank you.